my channel. My name is Adam W. Rodriguez, and welcome to the Art of AWR. This is my first video here in the year 2023, and I've decided to create a series called Kenny Vloggins. Kenny Vloggins, right? You get it? Kenny Vloggins, you know, Highway to the Danger Zone. You ever watch that? That's the first Top Gun, not the most recent one. You know, he's footloose. Everybody cut footloose. You know what I mean. That's all right, fine. Some folks will get it, some folks won't. I almost called this thing Vlog Day Afternoon, or maybe Man Bites Vlog, you know, just kind of deeper and deeper into an obscure pop culture hole. Hey, if you guys get my pop culture references, mention it in the comments below. We will have a big larf about it. So anyway, what is Kenny Vloggins? Kenny Vloggins is where I would like to share my reading and my project updates so that I can kind of keep up with it myself, do little reports. It's good for just general content, and I want to just kind of just talk to the camera a little bit more and, you know, vlog it out. We're going to vlog it out, guys. We're going to vlog it out. Yeah. Okay, cool. Big time. Before I begin, I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel. If you like videos about books and creativity and comics and all that kind of stuff, please subscribe to my channel. Maybe hit that like, maybe hit that bell so that you get new notifications every time a new episode drops. Hey, why not make a comment down below? We'll start a conversation. We'll talk about all sorts of fun stuff like books and comics and whatever else suits our fancies. So many fancies. It's quite fancy of you to comment in the comments below. Okay, now that we're all wearing our fancy pants, I am going to start with the books that I have been reading. So, first book that I started at the top of the year is this one. Sir Terry Pratchett's Guards. I've been looking forward to reading this book. Like, if you've been watching me up until now, I keep mentioning, I'm about to read this book. And finally, I am reading it. And now I'm about to put it down, actually. I'm about, 100 and something pages in. But I need to read something else. So what is that something else, you might ask? I'm glad you ask. I will share with you now. It is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I'm reading this because I have two projects looming, and both of them involve Frankenstein as the reading material. One of the projects, I'm going to announce it a little bit later on in the week. It involves another YouTuber, it involves some painting, but that's all I'm going to touch on for now. The other project that involves Mr. Frankenstein here is a stage play that I am going to be participating in. We write all of our own material in this play. The play is called Disco Dracula, and I will be playing Dracula. So I've already read Dracula, but there are elements of Frankenstein in the play itself as well, so I want to get in touch with that source material. Honestly, I just wanted another excuse to start reading Frankenstein. I love this book. I want to reconnect with some of the Gothic monsters that I've already read, plus I want to read some new Gothic monster books, so when October comes around, I can kind of do a series about it. I'm actually thinking about doing like a TBR video, and I was honestly for a long time going, I will never do a TBR video, but I think actually it's one that's very possible to like achieve, because I really want to collect some Gothic monster books and read them. And I don't know, maybe I'll do like a ranking or something like that. I don't know. We'll talk about it as we go. But yeah, look forward to that TBR about Frankenstein. It's a wonderful book, and I've read it 3 or 4 times at this point. But the last time I read it was almost a decade ago, so I'm trying to reconnect. And that's what I'm doing. Anyway, that is that. I have several other books that I'm looking to review that I haven't reviewed yet. A couple of werewolf books, The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, and I just finished reading Moby Dick here last December, which was something I'd promised myself I would do before the year is out. And I made good on that promise. I'm always happy when I make good on a promise to me. You other guys can go and suffer. I'll just lie to you all day. No, that was awful. That was awful of me to say. Oh my gosh. Well, on that terrible note, let's move on into projects that Adam is doing. Well, the only project that I want to talk about in this particular episode of Kenny Vloggins is this one project that I'm trying to get off my plate. It's very near and dear, though, and it is a script for a small press comic book. I've been building comics since about 2019. I did this project called the Clash Comics Project, where I published a comic book every month, a new one every month. I worked with a couple of other comic book creator guys, just folks who enjoy building their own homemade comic books. I worked with the wonderful Mel D, and I worked with and I worked with, man, I feel bad. I can't remember his name right now. Ryan Manning, thank you. That was it. I had to hit my Rolodex in the back of my head, and he wrote a couple of issues. Anyway, it was a wonderful project and a lot of fun. At the end of the project, I remembered a lot of the old dream of becoming a comic book artist or writer when I was very young. In fact, it was one of the very first artistic pursuits that I, as a young budding artist, ever pursued. I used to send scripts into like Dark Horse Comics and Marvel Comics and DC Comics. Sometimes they wouldn't even bother giving me a rejection. I probably was just mailing it to the wrong place. I don't know. I was 17 years old and I was doing, I was probably doing it wrong. But anyway, I got disheartened and I stopped pursuing that and started moving into other realms and different places as an artist and as a performer. So that's the old story. And what it's come down to is, after my experience in 2019 building those comics, I just decided I wanted to get better at it. So now every year since then, I'll make like 1, 2, sometimes even as many as 4 comic books, and just try to get better and better at building and formatting and editing and stuff like that. So a few years later, actually this last year, 2022, middle of the year or so, I discovered a channel called the channel is called Larned Justin. The show on the channel is called Talking Small Press Comics, where Larned Justin teams up with another guy named Steve Keeter, and both of these guys do a show called Talking Small Press Comics. It's a wonderful, wonderful show. I watch it all the time. It's one of my bell notifications. Every time one of them drops, I'm usually one of the first guys to comment. I really enjoy their show. They don't call themselves reviewers, they call themselves promoters, and that's exactly what they do. What I really like is they don't seem to discriminate too much between like some of my kind of janky handmade comics. These things are, I would call these like high quality zines, but like low quality small press comics, because like this is all like handmade, done with relatively cheap materials, and I go out of my way not to put too much dark black spots on the page so I don't have to spend as much on ink. You know what I mean? It's all very low cost. But it's on the same channel as some of these really high quality, professional quality comics, where these guys are like full size, full color, done by guys who are in and out of the industry, that kind of stuff. So it's really cool that these guys kind of just promote everything, a broad spectrum of quality, a broad spectrum of experience with the folks that send stuff in. So it's a wonderful channel. If you've ever been interested in something like that, like just making your own comics, even if it's like a zine like this, you should check out that channel, because these guys are great and they promote it, and they make folks that create these kind of things feel seen, which I think is extremely important. It's actually one of the things that I really like about BookTube, is a lot of the guys in the community who just want to like lift people up, and I think that's awesome. I appreciate, all these old dead writers and all these really rich new writers, but I also appreciate watching, folks just promoting guys that no one's ever heard of, or guys that are brand new, or guys who are just self-published. I think that's wonderful, and I think that's super cool. I need to be doing that more, Anyway, so I plan on doing it. You guys have inspired me. Thank you so much for doing so. Anyway, Larned Justin, this last episode of Talking Small Press Comics, which I sent in this particular one. This is called Pinocchio and Mr. Hyde. Yeah, and it goes back to my reading habits, man. This is how some of the books that I read inspire me to create new things. So Pinocchio and Mr. Hyde is a comic book that I've created where this unlikely duo of Pinocchio and Mr. Hyde go on wacky little adventures together. In this particular series, they are in 1830s Paris, and they are interacting with the story The Murders in the Rue Morgue by Edgar Allan Poe. So I've meshed like 3 different public domain stories all into one. And they're interacting with some of the other characters like Dupin, the murderous orangutan with the straight razor and all that kind of stuff. I twist history around and put historical figures in there, stuff like that. So it's really quite a lot of fun. So much fun, in fact, that Larned Justin reached out to me after this last episode and asked if he could draw the next comic for Pinocchio and Mr. Hyde. And I was like super excited. I was like, hell yeah, man, that's going to be awesome. Let's do it. And Larned is great. He does a lot of his own comics. He's one of these guys who writes and draws all of his own stuff. I've got some cool examples of his work here. There's like Inspector eBay of the Cairo Police. This one's a good one. Like Inspector eBay is kind of like this Inspector Clouseau from the kind of Pink Panther tunes. But he's also kind of got like like a Sunday morning comics feel, if you guys even remember that. Some of y'all guys probably don't even have newspapers that had comics in it. But anyway, there are these comic strips. He does good comic strip work where it's like these great, sometimes 1 or 2 or 3 panel gags that'll just make you laugh. And that's what I like about Larned, is he's very much like the focus of what he's doing is just trying to make you have a good time. It's very wholesome in a lot of ways, and I really appreciate that. I mean, especially nowadays when so much of our media is not terribly wholesome. You know, it's also dark and gritty and people eat that up. But also, like, I find myself leaning towards some of the more wholesome content, especially nowadays. Anyway, Inspector eBay is really great. This one here is one of my personal favorites. It's Ralph Needleman, Outer Space Accountant. This was a wonderful series of short stories done with this particular character. It's great. Larned's great. I'm going to leave his information in the description below if you want to check out his channel and you want to check out perhaps episodes of Talking Small Press. It's a great way to just see into that community. These two guys are old school. They've been at it since, I want to say, the 60s. They're talking about, zines and comics that they were building in their teens. So like it's awesome. So, and they have a broad span of knowledge, and they know a lot of the folks, and and they could talk about obscure small press books all day. So it's wonderful. You couldn't have picked 2 better guys to be spokesfolks for small press. Anyway, that's been I feel like we've gone on long enough. So thank you so much for watching the first episode of my Kenny Vloggins. You will be seeing episode 2 coming a week from now, hopefully. And that's going to be the case. At least I want to do a Kenny Vloggins once a week if I can get away with it. And then try to intersperse within those weeks at least one other video if I can get away with it. And I'm going to try like heck to do so. I really want to just build more and interact more and view more. So cool. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed making it. We will see you next time here at the Kenny Vloggins on the Art of AWR. Ciao.